With the holidays just around the corner, we really can take advantage of our yoga practice to help us relieve stress. One of the greatest tools in our yoga toolbox is restorative poses. Classically, a restorative pose is any pose that you hold for 5 minutes or more. And to do that can be really challenging depending on the posture. So usually we do restorative poses with a lot of props. And what that does is it holds our bodies up in the posture without us having to do a lot of effort or work. And in the process, we have a lot of time to just let our bodies relax and allow the yoga poses to do the work for us. And it gives us time to be quiet and to be still and let our minds become more calm and centered. So this sequence of 4 poses can actually really be done at any time of the year. It's really great if you feel fatigued, run down. For ladies, if you have your menstrual cycle, this is a really great sequence to help with cramps and exhaustion. And also, if you're a really active athlete, I would suggest doing a restorative practice as often as once a week and definitely once a month. So in this short video, I've done the restorative poses very quickly, and that was just in the interest of time. But when you do this practice, I want you to stay in the pose as long as you want to. Now, if you're sleep deprived, that might mean that you actually fall asleep in the poses. That's not necessarily what we want, but if that happens, don't worry about it, okay? Just wake yourself up when it happens naturally, and then just get on with the next pose when the time feels right. So take your time. The longer you spend in the pose, often the better. Let your body relax and be heavy. Let it be supported by the props, and the stress will melt away, I promise. Have a really great practice, and thanks for checking in with me. And of course, you can always find out more about me at paisleyann.com. Begin in a standing forward fold. Place one block under each hand, and also a block stacked perhaps with a folded blanket on top of it, or maybe even a chair to rest your head upon. The idea is you want to be reaching with your head, not having the prop scrunch your neck, but not be straining to reach it. When you're done, step back, keep your head low, then remove the blocks out of the way and grab a bolster or perhaps a couple of firm, thick, big pillows. Take your knees wide, about as wide as your mat, and place the bolster in between your legs. Sit back on your heels, and then lengthen your spine and lie over the bolster in child's pose. You can do this with your head turned to the side and just rest heavily down onto the bolster. At some point, you'll want to turn your head the other direction. Maybe re-lengthen your spine as you readjust. And it's possible if your bolster is flatter or your pillows are lower, you might have to build it up a little higher so you feel supported. Bolster will rest into your belly a little bit. Definitely want to be able to relax. This allows the back of the body to open. It's very calming and soothing. Next, we'll sit up and sit turned with both knees to the side, with the bolster right along the side of your hip in the middle. Then you turn and you face the bolster, and you want to lift up and lengthen your spine with the bolster right in front of you, and then keep the length as you lie down over the bolster. Again, you can have your head turned to the side, and this gentle twisting action is really good for cleansing the organs, the kidneys, the liver. It bathes the organs there, adrenal glands in particular, with new oxygen, new blood, Squeezes out the old toxins. This is really good for helping relieve stress. You'll turn to the other side. You can switch your knees opposite. Again, you're sitting right in front of the bolster and it's going long ways on your mat, and then you turn to face it, lengthen your spine, and lie down over it. If you don't like turning your head to the side, facing the same way as your knees, you could grab a blanket or a pillow and put your forehead on it. You want to have space for your nose if you do that, so that you can breathe without your face getting smashed on the bolster. Perhaps as your body opens, you turn a little bit deeper into the pose, or you just relax and stay until you feel done. And then finally, keep the bolster as is. Place a folded blanket or a low pillow on the end of the bolster and then sit in front of the opposite end on the floor. Now, my favorite way to do this is to take a long rectangular folded blanket and to roll it up. This is going to be a support for our knees in the next pose, which is Supta Baddha Konasana, reclining bound angle pose. So in this pose, you sit right in front of the bolster and you put your feet together, soles of the feet touching. The blanket goes on top of the feet, and then you tuck the edges under your outer hips. And then lie back on the bolster and rest your head on that low pillow or that folded blanket. This is a really soothing pose for the lower back. It's really great if you have menstrual cramps. It's also fantastic for opening the heart and the chest and allowing for deeper breathing. Whenever we breathe more deeply, it helps us to release stress and to relax. You could also put 2 blocks, one under each knee, if you don't have all these blankets. When you come out of this pose, you roll to your side and you pause there on the floor. And when you sit up, you do so gently by pushing into the floor with your hands instead of kicking out with your legs.